So Mert, welcome to the show. Let's talk about Solana. Obviously, Solana we've seen tremendous growth with Solana over the last couple of months. What do you think is driving this growth of Solana, and do you expect this to continue over the coming months?
Yes, so I definitely expect to continue for the coming months and years. I would say two reasons mainly, one technical and one social. Technically speaking, Solana is the most performant, most scalable, and cheapest L1 blockchain where people can use or deploy applications on. And then there's a social element, which is that as an ecosystem, we focus very, very deeply on the user experience and making things easy for the user, shipping fast improvements, and taking feedback from our users and kind of iterating, as opposed to maybe some other, let's say, approaches in crypto that have been tried in the past, which is a bit more like science project-y, where you work upwards from the tech. But we really care about the user, the consumer, apps, tokens, and startups.
So Solana is known for its high throughput and low transaction costs. So how do you at Helius take advantage of these factors and these characteristics?
So that's correct. Solana is extremely fast and extremely cheap. However, one thing that leads to is that the infrastructure has to be super high performance and it's hard to maintain. And you need very kind of dedicated builders taking care of that infrastructure, right? And so at Helius, what we do is we provide high-end infrastructure for people looking to either, it ranges from high-frequency traders and algorithmic traders who need super low latency and increased bandwidth, all the way to somebody like Helium, which is not to be confused with Helius, which is like a mobile wireless network. And so the use cases really range, and so you have to be on top of that.
But when you're providing such infrastructure in the crypto space, how is it different from, for example, a lot of firms are providing similar services in the traditional financial services space?
Well, the stakes are much higher. So in traditional systems, you're generally not working with money, or at least a lot of value. So an example would be something like Google Cloud. Whereas in crypto, your users might be transferring hundreds of millions of dollars, or they might be trading with different hedge funds, and you get all these adversarial games. But then also the variety, especially on Solana, ranges from like meme coins to algorithmic traders to Silicon Valley garage startups. And so you have to really have a big picture and also take it seriously that these are high stakes that you're playing with.
So where do you see, or what do you see for the future of Solana? And especially when you're seeing all the progress that we're seeing with the crypto landscape overall.
So the future of Solana that I would like is that it's essentially the Silicon Valley of blockchains. What that means is if you are a talented entrepreneur and you want to, let's say, improve the financial system or you want to build a crypto application, you go to Solana because it has the best founder support, ecosystem support, but also your application scales with you. Right, so scales to hundreds of thousands of transactions per second at affordable fees, so that maybe within, actually in Dubai, I can already use crypto. Where I'm coming from, we didn't always used to be able to do that. So like it should be such that the app just works and the financial system is more efficient. And I think Solana will be a very big player in kind of powering that future.
But talk about the future. You mentioned you want it to be the Silicon Valley of the future of, especially in crypto. There's been actually recently a lot of activity with meme coins on Solana. Mm-hmm. I mean, Pump Dump Fund is a good example, and obviously there's been a lot of pumps and dumps on that. There's been a lot of market manipulation. Do you think that could be a negative for Solana that there's so much meme coin activity on chain?
I think certainly memes have this potential where they go viral and they're funny or sometimes really disgusting, and basically they're designed to go viral, and so that tends to dominate, let's say, the social sphere. That being said, it's not necessarily an indictment on Solana. It's more like an indictment on crypto in general, right? So like if I'm somebody on TikTok or something and I want to make a viral meme and I want to capitalize it, as a user, I just want to go to the chain that's going to be the easiest, the cheapest, the most scalable, and as a result, they go to Solana. But other ecosystems also have this. And so I do think, my thing has always been real applications, use cases. I do think some memes can be utilized for productive endeavors like funding developer hackathons or even charity and all these different things. And so due to the nature of social media, obviously the weird ones get to the top, and that's what you end up seeing. But there's a lot of really cool stuff happening with like stable coins, decentralized exchanges, physical infrastructure networks. We have a company on Solana that's competing with Google Maps, for example, to map the world and provide better mapping and costs for users. So memes will obviously just go more viral, but like, let's make no mistake, there's a lot of actual activity happening as well.
When you look at the landscape, regulatory landscape for crypto overall, what would you like to see coming in 2025?
So one of the biggest problems for regulation has been that it's, especially in the USA under Gary Gensler, it's been somewhat regulation by enforcement, where they just kind of threaten you with something and then now you have the stain on you. But like, even because I used to work at Coinbase, even if you try to comply, you're not quite sure what the rules are, and so it ends up being like a very gray area for everybody. So just clarity alone would go a long way. And like, I'm coming from Canada, where certain things that are super basic, like even just buying Sol, there's a limit on buying this. Versus if I can, I just moved to Dubai, and here I can buy a house with crypto. And like, it's just such a big difference, and it's just much more enjoyable. And so I guess in one word, clarity would be what I like to see more.
What's your view on Solana ETF? I know there's a number of applicants that are trying to get an ETF of Solana. Do you think something we'll see? But if it's going to happen, when do you expect to see this? And what do you think the impact could be on the Solana ecosystem?
Right. So the question isn't, to me at least, it's not whether it will happen. It will definitely happen. The question is about timing. And so based on, I had Van Eck, who also filed for an ETF for Solana, on my podcast, and they seemed optimistic for end of 2025. So that's kind of what I would go with. But again, I don't know how these things generally work out. I believe there's 4 now filed, so there's also 21 shares, and Bitwise, and there's another one as well. There's also some in Canada. The impact, well, I mean, I think just currently Bitcoin, Ethereum are really the popular ones, the big kids on the block, so to say, and they have much more regular clarity. And so once Solana kind of enters that league so that it de-risks it for some of these institutions, hedge funds, and all these different kinds of institutional players, then I think everybody in the ecosystem benefits, but also all of crypto benefits, right?
So clarity is the key word to look for here when it comes to regulatory framework for crypto. Thank you so much, Mert, for being with us today. Mert Mumtaz, co-founder and CEO at Helius.
Are your children prepared for the future of money? Order Decoding Crypto with Henri and Hodler, the #1 new release kids book on Amazon.